Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called The Ghost of Alberta. The first rule of winter in Alberta is simple: the snow listens. Most people laugh when they hear that. Tourists snap photos of endless white fields, of mountains jagged as broken teeth, of breath turning to fog in the air. They don't notice how sound dies out in the cold, how footsteps feel muted, like the ground is swallowing them. They don't notice the way a blizzard can seem to move with intention, circling, waiting. Old-timers notice, and they warn you, quietly, that there is something out there when the snow falls just right. They call it the snow ghost. Evan Mercer had lived in Alberta his entire life, just outside the small town of Black Pine. He was 17, tall and thin, with a laugh that came easily and a habit of not believing in anything he couldn't see. He loved winter, loved the challenge of it, the silence, the way the world felt stripped down to bone and breath. So when his cousin Leah came up from Calgary for winter break, Evan convinced her to go snowshoeing with him in the foothills. Just a short hike, he promised, tightening the straps on his pack. There's an old fire lookout past Whisper Ridge. Abandoned. Creepy in a fun way. Leah rolled her eyes, pulling her scarf higher. You always say that. Last time your short hike ended with us lost for 3 hours. We weren't lost, Evan said. We were temporarily mislocated. Their friend Mark came along too. Mark Collins, 18, practical to a fault, with a camera slung around his neck. He liked documenting things. Proof mattered to him. Weather report says light snow, Mark said, checking his phone before it lost signal. Nothing serious. The sky was already turning the color of old steel. They reached Whisper Ridge by early afternoon. Snow covered the trees in heavy clumps, branches sagging like tired arms. The forest was unnaturally quiet, no birds, no wind through needles. Just the soft crunch of snow under their feet. That's weird, Leah said softly. It's too quiet. Evan shrugged. Snow does that. They hadn't gone far past the ridge when the snowfall thickened. Not heavier, denser. The flakes were small and sharp, stinging exposed skin, falling straight down as if gravity had doubled. Mark stopped. Guys, this isn't in the forecast. Then they heard it. A sound like footsteps, but wrong. Too slow. Dragging. As if something was being pulled through the snow rather than walking across it. Evan turned in a slow circle. Hello. The sound stopped immediately. Leah grabbed his sleeve. Don't do that. They waited. Nothing. Just snow, falling harder now, filling in their tracks behind them. Probably an animal, Evan said, though his voice lacked confidence. Mark lifted his camera, snapping a photo down the tree line. The flash popped, briefly lighting the forest. In that instant, something stood between the trees. Tall, thin, white against white, yet somehow darker than the snow around it. Its shape was human, but stretched, arms too long, head tilted at an angle no living neck should allow. Then the darkness returned, and it was gone. Mark's hands shook. Please tell me you saw that. Leah whispered, what was that? Evan swallowed. Probably shadows. Mark checked the photo. There was nothing there. The blizzard hit without warning. One moment they could see the ridge behind them. The next, the world collapsed into a swirling wall of white. Wind screamed through the trees, erasing direction, erasing distance. We need to turn back. Leah shouted. Evan tried. He took 5 steps and stopped dead. Their footprints were gone. Okay, he said, louder than necessary. We stay calm. We stick together. The temperature dropped fast. The cold wasn't just biting, it pressed, like invisible hands squeezing their lungs, their thoughts. That's when they heard the whispering. Not words. Breathing. Close. Too close. Leah sobbed. It's right here. A shape moved through the snowstorm, circling them. The wind bent around it, avoiding it, like water flowing past a rock. Then it spoke. Go back. The voice was layered, multiple voices overlapping, stretched thin by cold. Men, women, children. Evan felt ice crawl up his spine. Who are you? The shape stepped closer, and the snow around it froze solid, crystallizing into sharp, glittering ridges. I am the lost, it said. And the forgotten. Mark raised his camera again on instinct. The moment the lens pointed at the figure, the camera died. Screen black. Battery drained to nothing. The snow ghost leaned in. Its face was wrong, features blurred, as if carved by wind rather than hands. Hollow eyes filled with swirling frost. A mouth that opened too wide. Leave, it whispered, or stay forever. They ran. The forest warped as they moved. Trees seemed to shift, paths looping back on themselves. No matter which way they turned, the wind pushed them sideways, hurting them. Mark tripped and went down hard. Something grabbed his ankle. Not hands, cold, bone-deep cold, locking his leg in place. Frost raced up his boot. Evan turned back without thinking, grabbing Mark under the arms, pulling with everything he had. Leah joined him, screaming. The cold fought back. The snow ghost rose behind Mark, taller now, its body formed of swirling snow and ice, faces appearing and vanishing within it, dozens of them, mouths open in silent screams. Don't leave us, it cried. Evan roared and yanked harder. Mark came free. They didn't stop running until they burst out of the trees and nearly slammed into the rusted fire lookout tower. They barricaded themselves inside, slamming the door as the blizzard howled. For a moment, there was only their breathing. Then, knocking. Slow, deliberate. The metal door frosted over from the outside, ice creeping across it like veins. You cannot hide, the snow ghost said, its voice seeping through the walls. This land remembers. Leah clutched her head. What does it want? Evan stared at an old plaque bolted to the wall. Names. Dates. Dozens of names. Search and rescue volunteers. Hikers. Fire watchers. Lost to winter. They never left, he whispered. It's made of them. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then footsteps, retreating. The blizzard began to fade. They were found at dawn by a rescue team, half frozen but alive. No sign of the tower damage. No tracks. No evidence of anything chasing them. The official report called it weather-induced panic. Mark never went hiking again. Leah moved back to Calgary and refused to speak about the trip. Evan stayed. Years later, he became part of Alberta's search and rescue. Every winter, when the snow falls heavy and the world goes quiet, he hears it, whispering just beyond the treeline. Sometimes, when storms swallow people whole, he feels something watching him from the white. Waiting. Because the snow ghost of Alberta doesn't hunt the living. It collects the lost. And one day, when Evan finally missteps, it will welcome him home.